Yo, creeping in the dark, life nocturnal, dark and dark, both paths arboreal to terrestrial. Sticky toes gripping forest students that explore. Listen close, Gecko podcast, that's knowledge galore. Reptile talk, host Anthony and Jason. Trade secrets flow, no time wasted. From tropics to town, it's sight raining. With every chat, reptile game changing. Escaping heat waves, tan under rays, desert sand echoes, sun blazing days. Little hustlers, camouflage a maze, catch them speaking wisdom, the wild on replay.
All right, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
There we go. That's what I was waiting for. So today we got a nice little duo over here of Josh and Christy. Both of you guys want to kind of tell us you guys a story of how you got into this, and then even maybe how did y'all meet and decided y'all want to do some big reptile stuff together?
Sure. So I got into reptiles about 15 years ago. I didn't even know reptile expos were really a thing, but a friend of mine brought me to one. And while I was there, I ended up chatting with a vendor, and he actually was looking to hire somebody to come work shows with him. And I've never been afraid of reptiles. I've always loved them. So got to talking to him, and he asked me, he's like, hey, do you want the job? So I went, sure, yeah, that sounds fun. So I got to drive around to different shows, meet up with them, help vend the animals, fell in love first with crested, but very quickly with a lot of species. And ever since, I've never been able to just keep one species. That was never enough for me. I needed a lot. So now
it's always hard.
Oh, there's so many cool animals out there. So now I'm up to, well, between the two of us, we have about 30 species of geckos.
Man.
Love them all. It grew very, very quickly for me. I went from a single crested that I actually ordered from Pangea with my first crested to having, I would say, 15 species and successfully producing most of them within the first year. So very big jump, very fast. A lot of people are kind of thought, well, she's jumping in too fast. She'll get bored. She'll move on. Didn't happen. If anything, it got more and more involved. And I love the community. Love meeting people, going to the shows. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I started when I was a little kid. Growing up, my dad had reptiles. So I grew up with Burmese pythons. We had iguanas, boas, and we had a caiman. And my bedroom became kind of like a reptile room, even when I was a kid. And I started breeding when I was a teenager. I started with leopard geckos and ball pythons. And pretty much been doing it ever since. I mostly did snakes when I was younger. And then around 2012, I started with crested geckos, and since then, it's pretty much transitioned more to geckos than snakes.
As for how we met, so we actually met through reptiles, big surprise. So we met at Tinley. So at the time, I was living in Virginia. Josh was living in Michigan. He was working with Pangea, and we met and just kind of clicked. It wasn't too long after that, he moved to Virginia from Michigan, and that was about, year and a half ago? Mm-hmm. About a year and a half ago. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun being with somebody who loves the animals as much as I do. And it's also really great because we can work together. I know that I can trust him 100% with all the animals, vice versa, and we're all involved in all of it. So that makes it a lot of fun.
I can only imagine.
It really is awesome.
Now, is it dangerous that both of you guys like all these animals? Like, is it dangerous to be like, you know what? Let's go on Morph Market real quick, and like, and who's saying no? That's
like, yeah, nobody says no. We'll go to a show, and one of us will wander off around the show, and then come back to the table with a cup, and we're just like, okay, so it is. Just recently,
nice.
I kind of impulse bought a joking. Josh got to manage my now when it got here. Yeah, that happened.
There you go.
That's cool.
Nice.
So when it comes to your projects, do you guys like I don't want to say communicate because obviously you communicate, but do you guys plan together, or do you have little individual projects you go about yourselves, or do you guys like brainstorm together and say, let's work with this or do this, or do you just each
Definitely
just support each other and kind of?
Yeah.
Both. Majority of the stuff we do discuss and plan, but then both of us already had like our own projects when we got together that are still going. But for the most part, like everything that we do going forward, like we figure it out together and plan it all out in advance.
Yeah, luckily, we're
Nice.
both very open-minded when it comes to all these animals. There's really not anything that either one of us would say, nah, I don't want that. That's terrible. We talk about
That's
it.
great. Two people that have a passion, you can look at projects from two different angles. You could really help a project with two people that, have a passion. Even if you don't necessarily agree with something, it's another set of eyes, it's another brain thinking about it.
That is absolutely
cool.
true.
Very cool.
And that's actually something
Very
that's
cool.
been really nice because even when pairing things, we still even work with crested geckos as well. And even when we're picking out pairings, it's so nice to see a different point of view and maybe see something or a direction the other may not have thought of. So that makes it fun.
Awesome. Very cool.
So where did the name Big Mad Geckos come from? Because I
So-
mean, looking at your page, I mean, you guys are holding them, so they're not mad. So where did that name come from?
So that actually came from one of my very first Tokay geckos. So a very dear friend of mine, Leland Ward, I know a lot of people are still familiar with him. He was diagnosed with a fatal terminal brain cancer. So I ended up with some of his animals. Like I said, we were very close. And at that point, I hadn't owned Tokays yet. But I was like, I love them. They're very cool. I've always wanted to work with them. Well, one of the geckos, when we got him out, he was just particularly, Tokays can be pretty feisty, right? But this one was particularly angry at the world. He was not happy about being taken out. And I just kept saying he was just Big Mad. He was Big Mad, became his name. So we have him and Mrs. Mad, his current mate, well, his permanent mate. After Leland passed, after we moved in together, so I was Christy's reptile room. Josh had his own business name. It's like, we're going to be working together. We should come up with something that represents both of us. And with Tokays being a big part of what we plan on working with, we just kind of went to that name. And it's kind of a little bit of a way to honor, my friend, but also to honor, such cool animals, such a cool species.
It's a great name, and it fits. The first thing I thought of is Tokay. When I seen the name Big Mad Gecko, I'm like, no, it's a Tokay thing.
Yeah. So, I said we're gonna talk about a few different things, but I know I wanted to kind of get into so what kind of Tokay projects are you guys doing? Because I saw you got a bunch of different Tokays on there. I'm not up to date on the morphs, so like, what are your guys' goals with these projects?
So right now, I would say the most exciting projects that we have going on are the double recessives. So albino candy dots are one of them that we're working towards. Yellow spot candy dots are another one. We're going to be crossing our shooting star male to a candy dot female, and that's pretty exciting. Albino patternless is something that we eventually want to work on. We've got multiple different granite pairings. So last year, we paired up a pair of granites that it does look like we've produced visual granite babies from that pairing so far. They haven't been removed from the parents yet. So we haven't been able to take photos and share the photos yet. But the oldest two are about 3 months old now, and they do look like they're visual granites. So that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
We've got 2 more granite to granite pairings we're going to be putting together sometime within the next couple of months. We've got a paradox pair that the female is a dark-eyed paradox, and we don't know yet if these are going to be compatible forms of paradox or not. But that's another exciting project. We've got a striped pair that is
Awesome.
Probably one of the nicest pairings that we're doing. We're
We have so many projects, I forget what they all are at any given moment. So I have to look
I
around the room.
I have your Instagram page up over here on my other screen over here. I'm looking at some of these things like,
And we barely posted any of them. Like right now, we've got around 40 to 50 tokens, and we've only
Right.
shared pictures of a few of them just because we really aren't as good at posting on social media as we should be.
beautiful animals. Yeah,
Thank you.
you'd be a big hit with these couple animals I'm looking at, you know? There's not too many
Pretty
guys,
excited.
people out there, there's very few people working with these things, It's very interesting. What's this black, or is that a candy dot? He's like kind of black with yellow spots?
So
Or
I'd have to see
gray
the
with
picture
yellow
you're
spots?
looking at for sure.
Yeah, I think you're probably
let
seeing
me-
the yellow spot female. She's got like a
Just says yellows.
yeah, she's like a purple base with
Real dark.
real saturated yellow spots, and that's the female that we're going to be breeding a candy dot male to. The yellow spot female is the genetics on that are unproven at the moment because she's a wild caught import, but I'm betting that it's going to be recessive.
There we go. Scroll down, Jay. It's like on this right-hand side, you'll see it right there.
Yeah,
That yellow,
yellow
that bad
spot
boy.
Yeah, that's her.
So
That thing,
yeah,
she's beautiful.
We love her. We really love her.
I think the candy dot version of that is going to be very cool.
Yeah, that's going to be a
So
really
what
fun
exactly
project.
is a candy dot?
So the candy dot, so it's going to be kind of a dark purpley base. I think do we have pictures up there?
We have there's a couple of our candy dots posted.
Let's see,
let
I'm
me
trying
know
to
when
Cabin
you
is
see it.
okay, but I'm so not hip with the morphs that it's like, I
Yeah, so that's a
I
candy.
don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the candy dots have very small refined spots that are directly on the tubercle, and they're very regimented. It's a very clean look, but it's a really interesting morph.
Okay.
And they also are
Oh.
deep dyed.
The little candies that come on the paper that you peel off,
Yeah,
right? The little
exactly.
dots. On the strips.
Exactly.
It's not even where we got the name from, right?
Yes, I'm sure that's where it came
Wow.
from originally.
Yeah, okay.
Oh man,
I've heard
That's
people
good.
talk about it, but I don't think I've ever actually, had someone say this is a candy dot,
Right.
That's cool. Okay. I love them. I think I have one myself, just as a pet, but she's one of my favorite geckos, just a regular form, just a regular natural form are gorgeous animals.
That's what I love about
And this
tokies.
is-
Even the natural form, their common wild type is still a beautiful animal.
Oh, yeah.
yes, it is. Yeah, is this the strike project you were talking about right here? Okay.
I've never seen that before either.
That one
Yeah, no, this-
is one that we're probably most excited about. That's got a lot of potential right there.
Yeah,
Something's
definitely.
happening because even the spots that aren't in the line on the side are exactly connected.
Mm-hmm.
Something's going on there. That's cool. That's very cool.
My thinking right now is that the stripes are going to work out something similar to like a parent pattern in the milk snakes, where if you breed two of them together, you can strengthen it. I don't believe it's like a single gene responsible for the look, but I feel like pairing two heavily striped animals together like that, we should be producing some really nice striped stuff from those two.
Definitely looking forward to
Exciting.
that. Yeah.
Very exciting.
So how many Tokay pairs are you guys working with right now?
Oh, that's an excellent question.
That means that's a lot. That's what that means.
Well, we have a lot that haven't been paired up yet that should be ready to pair this season.
Okay.
So, but altogether, I would say at least 15 plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
around 15 to 20, somewhere in that range.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're pretty excited
So
about
you
where
s-
these projects are going.
You had mentioned that yellow spot female was imported. Did you guys import her yourself, or do you work with someone? Did you buy her from somebody?
So we didn't import her ourselves. Bledsoe's Exotics down in Florida is who we got her from. A lot of they do the importing, and a lot of our wild caught imports have come from them.
Okay.
Not all of them,
Awesome.
but a huge majority have.
Very
That's a
cool.
candy dot right here,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Yeah.
another candy dot.
Okay.
Very cool.
Makes me want to get toke's again. For real.
The
I was
potential.
telling you, dude, there's so much, Jay, and there's like nobody, no offense to you guys, but there's like hardly anyone doing what could be done. I mean, there's some few people, and those people are like super,
Yeah. I mean, I know it was like
passionate,
Jimmy
but there's not like it's
and
nothing like Crested Geckos or
and like
anything else.
Lucky Foot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the only two I didn't really know that
Jimmy
really.
Mod, the Kid Dakota's got all those crazy tokes.
And then
What did you
Lucky
say? There
Foot.
was someone else. I can name. I could think
Yeah.
of 5 people, and I've talked to thousands of gecko people. I can name 5 that do this
Yeah.
type of stuff with tokens. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
there's not a lot out there right now that are really producing very many, and not very many people that are working with a lot of the different morphs. So we're pretty excited to be involved in it and see what we come up with.
So for
That's
those
awesome.
granites, because I remember back in the day they were talking about like it takes a while before they actually turn into granite. So are yours popping out granite already, or is it like developing over time?
So after about a month, you could tell that there was something different. Like when they first hatch out,
Mhm.
they look pretty much like a normal. But
Okay.
about a month or two after hatching, you could see that they're not normals. Like the base color is like gray, and they're
Okay.
very
Yeah.
heavily banded, and they don't have the spots going on.
Okay.
So it's actually interesting with granite, hide, in fact, a lot of the Toki morphs. It is likely, and from what we've seen, evidence shows that there's likely multiple lines and different genetics involved that show a very similar presentation. So
Mhm.
there are granites who, like, luckily ours are showing they're looking like they're developing now. There's others that you can't tell they're granite until much later. It's the same with pieds. I've heard of people who've had a toke that went pied at 5 years old. So that can also make it tricky breeding and figuring out the genetics because sometimes they don't show you right away. And also, some lines are just not compatible. You can take 2 animals that both look visually granite,
Mhm.
but they might be completely incompatible lines. So that's another part of the
Hey, we
puzzle
were
that has to be worked.
speaking to we were talking to somebody, but they were talking about that with the albinos. That just
Yeah.
because one animal is albino, you compare it to another line or something of albinos, and you will
Yeah.
not get albinos.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
have
think
to
we were
be
talking
this-
to Jimmy, and then I remember M9 genetics kind of chimed in on a post of
There
ours,
you go.
and he was talking about that. It's like, yeah, it's like a couple different lines of albinos, just like in like leopard geckos, where you got like 3 forms of albino, and they're not compatible with each other.
Yeah,
So is it
Yeah.
the same stuff?
Same way. But there's way more lines than just a couple. Like, I wouldn't know how many, but that's the biggest issue is there are so many different incompatible lines that even might look similar, but when bred
Yeah.
together, are just
Okay.
going to produce double heads.
Okay.
Could be expensive experiments, boy.
Yeah. All right. So
What's this animal? What is this?
It's a
that's
patternless,
a toke.
yeah, patternless token.
Just a regular patternless, really?
She's a blue-headed green.
That thing's beautiful.
Just fired down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just fired really pretty right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Like when I saw it, I was like, is this an all white toke? Like what's going on here? But yeah, it's probably just like you said, it's like looks like it's fired down, but you can kind of see like the blue head on there and like the green, very, very faint. But I mean, it looks phenomenal though. It's a gorgeous gecko. Like,
She's a beautiful
God
animal.
damn.
Yeah. So we actually got
Yeah.
her from Sari of Gallery Gecko, and it was produced by her. So super nice animal.
Yeah, see, you guys holding everything too. That's
Yeah.
how many times
Yeah.
have y'all gotten bit
I,
trying to do all this?
maybe once or twice. Not that often.
Yeah. Oh man.
I enjoy playing with
Yeah,
the
so I mean,
token.
look, oh yeah, yeah. I said I never played with mine. I just like I said, we had a good relationship, where like I didn't mess with you, you didn't mess with me, kind of thing. Like she didn't bite the hand that fed her, so she was like, okay, cool. Like I can move her tail, I can like just because she would always every time I feed her, she would get on the front window and plop her tail over the thing. I'm like, I gotta close this door, so we
Yeah.
need to move it. And she never wanted to move it, even if I like started closing it. And she's like, nope, not moving, not moving. So I was like, all right, move that shit over real quick. And she wouldn't snap. So she just only snapped at me. Well, when I had her, she only snapped like maybe a few times. And usually it was because I sprayed her with some cold water, like when I was misting the cage. That's about it. She never really tried to like, snap or bark at me or anything like that. I mean, like I said, we had a good relationship where she know I fed her. So she's like, all right, whatever, cool. So also, like I said, I lost her too, like 4 months, but she was still kicking. I found her home, like I said, because I was throwing crickets out on the floor, like, oh, you're going to live, you're going to survive, you're going to have food. And then one day she just showed up. I was like, all right, hey, what's up with you? I didn't pick her up. I got what was it? I got like a little container, got her, boom, made a enclosure real quick, threw her ass in there, and she was good to go.
They're pretty tough geckos. They can
Oh
put up
man,
with
they are
quite
so
a
hardy.
lot. But
Yeah.
we find
I mean,
if we do
especially if you think about that
handlers,
importation process, they
yeah,
put up with a lot of shit.
they do. They go through a lot. We do handle ours quite a bit. We find the tokays are quite a bit more intelligent than your average gecko. So
Oh
if their
yeah.
interactions
Oh
with
yeah.
people have been pretty negative, it takes a really long time to earn their trust to the point where you can handle them without worrying about being bitten. But
Exactly.
we find we'll
Exactly.
take them out and play with them for a while, and they usually settle down pretty well after they've been out for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's never bit me. But like you said, they're I keep close to 15 different species of geckos myself, and she's probably the smartest. You can't grab her. I'm one of two people that's ever had her. I bought her captive bred from Richie, the Gecko King. She's, was tiny when I got her. I'm the, probably the, literally the only one of two people that's ever handled her. And I can't just grab her. I have to convince her to come to me. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I can't just, I don't just reach in and grab her, I only hold her by letting her come to me, and she will. She'll come out. She'll do what she wants. She checks out what she wants to check out. And when she's done, she jumps right back in her cage. It's never been
Grabbing
bit.
onto them is what's going to put them into a real defensive mode, and that's what's going to make them try to bite you.
Well,
We use a little pop-up tent to bring them in and handle them inside the tent. So that way we don't
That's
have to
smart.
worry about
Yeah.
them running off into the room, and we can just open-handed work with them, let them walk around, and not have to restrain them. And that's what allows them to be so calm and actually easy to handle. It's not having to grab onto them like that.
yeah, I think that they're so smart that they would remember that. It's almost traumatizing when you see people holding them and their mouths are all open and they're trying to get. I'm like, you're terrifying that damn gecko, man. Like, you're better off just not even holding them. Some of these things, but I guess you have to. I just it's not a good way to tame them down by any means. But time and consistency.
So who's the spider person in this relationship?
I started. They're a lot of fun. We've got 5 tarantulas now, a few jumping spiders, but the tarantulas are fun. Like they're kind of like the fish, where they're not something to interact with. They're just something that we look at.
Oh
and
no. Yeah.
But they're cool.
So
They're fun.
remember when I mentioned that sometimes one of us will walk off at a show and then come back with a cup?
That's me.
So first spider that came back with, hey, I've always thought there's actually a lot of cool spiders out there. It was not something I'd really consider keeping myself. But I was like, yeah, I can appreciate it. They're pretty cool. There's some beautiful ones out there, actually. And then Josh
yeah.
came back to the table with a couple spiders. And it went, well, guess we have spiders now. And I'm comfortable
There
enough
you
with
go.
them. I can feed them, mist them, do whatever you want with them. But yeah, they're not something I take out or handle or mess with.
Yeah, no. I said, my girlfriend, she's into jumping spiders. Like I said, man, she just got done this morning, moving a bunch of slings, because her jumping spider, I think, is on her third egg sac already. And so it's like, oh man, so she just got done moving a bunch of them into like these little bitty itty little enclosures. I think the last egg sac, I think, was like 90 something in there. I was like, damn. I was like, you got more than me. And all you did was buy one. Like, it was, well, she's never paired it. And that thing just came pregnant. I was like, God damn. But I mean, she's having fun with it. So I was like, all right, cool, we're good. I'm trying to convince her to let me get a scorpion. So we'll
we
see what
actually
happens with that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some Asian forest scorpions. We got one pair that has bred. And originally we had just gotten a little group of them to try to get a male and a female that would pair up and breed. And we did. There's one pair that we put them together, and almost immediately they went up to each other and bred. The female's gravid right now, so eventually we'll
What's
have a
the
little baby
courting behavior
scorpion.
like on those?
I'm sorry.
What's the courting behavior on the scorpions?
So
Like, what do they do?
They lock their claws together and will kind of like dance back and forth. The male will drop a spermatophore, and then the female will pick it up.
It's actually pretty interesting. Part of the reason we got the scorpion was purely because we think it's so cool. The mom will carry the babies around on her back. We're like, yeah, cool. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Let's witness that. So, yeah, actually watching the mating and how the male will guide the female over their spermatophore. And so it was neat. It was really cool to see.
Very cool.
Nice.
Isn't there a few different types of forest scorpions? Do you guys have like the big one, the ones that get really big?
Yeah, I want to say there's like 5 or 6 different species, all with the same
There is,
common
right?
name.
What do you know? Do you have? I'm trying to think of the name. It's like a gigantus something.
So
something.
I've probably got the pronunciation wrong, but I believe it's like spinifer, something like that. I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly, but
Some
I
of
don't
them
know the
get
Latin
huge.
on any of
Some of
them.
those things are like 10 inches. The females will get up to like 10 inches or
yeah,
something.
I've heard they get pretty big. Ours are probably I'd estimate about like 5, maybe 5 inches.
Yeah.
They live a long time too. They're pretty long lived.
Yeah, they are.
Some of them. Awesome.
All right. So let's get into some Cerdodactylus pachellus. I've been on this Cerdodactylus kick for a while now, and I guess it just keep on coming, because I saw you're like, yeah, well, you have Cerdodactylus too. I was like, let's talk about it. Come on. I'm ready for it. So where do these ones come from?
So these ones, I worked with Cerdodactylus pulchellus years ago, and I really enjoyed them. And I eventually sold the project. I was moving. It was a whole thing. And I always kind of missed them. So, yeah, remember that whole walked around the show and came back with a cup? It was my turn.
Yeah.
Somebody had them. And I was like, I really miss these guys. I'd really like to have them again. So I think it was Rexpo up in New York. I picked up a couple babies. It's like, they're just really cool. And it looked like it was a pair. So cool. Well, then we were contacted later by the same person who's like, well, I'm actually selling my breeding groups. I have this pair that is not related to the babies you got. Do you want them? We're like, yeah, why not? Love to. So we ended up with those guys. I've always been a big Cerdodactylus fan myself. Pulchellus I've worked with in the past. I have Beguensis currently, which I also absolutely love. They're such beautiful little geckos. I also have a thing for vocal geckos. So Cerdodactylus, there's a lot of vocal Cerdodactylus species, so that's really cool. I've heard my Pulchellus and they're making noise. So that's really awesome. I love that.
Awesome.
And what kind of noises do they make? Because I know the Zebricus, it's almost like a 14-second interval, and it's almost like for me, it almost feels like a radar sound when it goes.
Yep, that
And
chirp.
then like and then my nebulosis is like just fucking like just machine gunning them things. I just chirp, 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 chirp. And it's like he'll go on for like 30 seconds. Like lately he's been doing it like probably like 2 or 3 times a night now. I was like, okay, I guess we're getting somewhere with something. Because I got him paired with a female right now. Actually I got all my Serdactyls. They're all paired up right now. So hopefully I get something soon from them.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Uh,
Yeah, so these guys,
yeah.
so it's really hard to describe. So the first time I heard them, I actually thought it was our frogs because it's a much deeper noise. And it's like, what the heck is that? And so I had to wander around the room. I was like, oh, wait, no, it's the Pulchillus. And I remembered that my Pulchillus previously had made noise, but I didn't remember it being that sound. I remembered it being a little higher pitched, but that also goes into something that I'll also bring up in a little bit. But yeah, it's almost more of a deeper frog-like sound. If we get lucky, they might go off. Don't know if they will or not. Their cage is crazy close to us, so I don't know if we'll hear it. But yeah, really interesting sound that they make. And they're not super vocal. They're not nearly as consistent as the Zebraicus are. They kind of just, every once in a great while, we'll be down here feeding and we'll hear it.
Yeah.
Do you keep
Can
them in
y'all
a group? How do you keep them? Do you have just pairs, 1.1s, or do you have a group of them?
Pairs.
Can you hear them while your guys are upstairs?
Not those ones.
Are they
I can
that
hear
loud?
the Zebraicus, but I can't. We don't hear the Pulchillus from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah, 'cause I was
nearly
like, I
as
know I
loud
can
as
hear
them.
mine.
You guys have a lot of tokays. I'm sure you hear all types of
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, the tokays are what we hear all the time.
And it's funny, the tokays, a lot of people don't realize this. The males all have different voices. So we can tell which male is calling when we're not in the room. So it's kind of
Very
interesting
nice.
you hear the differences. Oh, that's a big green panelist. That's Mad Junior, so yeah, it's kind of cool.
Nice.
That's very cool, actually. That's a
Really,
great observation.
I thought so.
Cool. Because I always wondered myself in a jungle, like I always try to put myself in these animals situation scenario. And if you were a male in a forest calling to a female, this female, you're not in sight, right? So she can't see your colors, she can't see your size. She would have to go one way or another, right? To one sound or another sound to follow or find this male. Now, what sense would it make for nature to make them all sound the same, right? Like there has to be differences in sound. We may not notice them, but there has to be differences. So I was watching this David Attenborough documentary one time, and they were studying poison dart frogs in the Amazon, and they were recording them and doing all this stuff, and they actually showed that the males of the same species all had different calls, different voices, different pitches. So I always wondered with geckos, like it has to be. I mean, to us, they may sound the same, but I promise you that they're different sounds.
Yeah, we've noticed with the tokays, like extremely different voices.
Yes, and different patterns sometime even. One of our granite males before he was paired up, in his call, he would have a very long lead up. Halfway through his full-on call, speaking of, we got something going off now. Yeah, that's
I love
Matt
it.
Jr. But he would also stop halfway, like
So
grumble a little
cool.
bit, and then at the end, he would just he just kind of keep making noise even after he finished the call. He just go for like a good another 20 seconds. We're like, okay, buddy.
It's cool. At
Nice.
least you have other animals in there that they can hear. I feel bad. I have some that will call out, but there's no other species to return that call. It's, kind of sad sometimes. Like you guys have animals, other animals of the same species calling. At least they're
Yes.
get some type of mental stimulation hearing it. It's very cool.
Definitely. In
Yeah.
fact, don't be surprised if one of our other males calls very soon. Usually those two boys go back and forth
Fine.
a lot.
That's fine. They just having conversations, just like we having
But they
conversations.
carry on. I'm pretty sure one of them wonders where the other one is if it doesn't call again fairly soon. So, and the original one will start calling again like hello. So it's pretty entertaining.
All right. So
I was talking, I don't know if it was Jason or somebody, we were talking, I don't remember exactly where, but I was listening to a podcast or a show or something, or someone was talking about tokays and saying that they believe that they pair bond so strongly that certain females in the wild or males that are taken from their mate in the wild will come into captivity and they will never pair again. They'll get caught, they'll get captured. You can never find the proper male for them because they are still attached to their mate in the wild.
Yeah.
Like it literally almost made me tear up. Like I felt so bad. Like
Right?
they'll
Yeah,
spend the
once-
rest of their lives, another 20 years in a cage, waiting to hear that one call that they know is theirs. It's
Yeah, once we put a pair together, they're just permanently together. We don't split that pair up. And we also, so any wild caught imports that we get them young enough that they've never been paired before. We don't get anything
Awesome.
that's fully mature
Makes sense.
and already, would have already been paired and bonded in the past. So all of
That's a
our
good way to
imports,
do
we
it.
get them young and grow them up ourselves, partly for that
It's a
reason.
great way to do that.
Yeah.
I wish
So we
more
got a
people
question
knew
in the
that,
chat.
if more people knew that, they probably avoid a lot of, headache. If you're buying mature animals already paired in the wild, you could avoid that if you buy young enough animals that never paired, that's
For sure.
actually pretty much smart.
So we got a question in the chat. It asks, how does the granite morph work?
So nobody really knows yet. Everybody's still trying to figure that out. There's only been a few of these there's only been a couple people that have been able to produce visual granites in captivity, and we don't have enough information yet to definitively say how this works. So far, it does seem like there are multiple incompatible forms of granite, and it's not working in the same way as like a simple recessive or incomplete dominant or anything that we know of. It's still trying to be figured out.
There's some speculation that it could even be sex linked as well. So yeah, that whole mark is still being worked on. And it could be that there are expressions of granite that are simple recessive, but there's clearly some that are not. There just simply hasn't been enough work with granites yet to know absolutely for sure at this point.
Yeah, my thinking, my opinion and where I'm at on it so far is I think that it's likely multiple different gene sites responsible for the phenotype. I don't think it's just one gene. I think that you're gonna have to have multiple different gene sites active for the expression. Same with pied. And I think that's why it's been so difficult for anybody to reproduce these consistently.
Yeah, because I always thought it was just like something that just develops over time. Like the pied, like they are born looking regular, and then almost a few years later,
there's some that are like that. And so within the granites that we have in our collection, there's multiple different forms of granite. They're all called granites, but they're definitely different in how it's expressing.
Okay.
All of ours are wild caught imports.
Oh, okay.
So there's two of them that we have that are blue and yellow. There's our two blue granites that are paired right now that we've gotten the babies from. We've got two other granites that are just blue base with black spots and very heavy banding. We'll be pairing those this year. But the way that they fire is different too. Some of them will fire in a way where they just go solid blue and all the spots go away. There's other ones that when they fire up, they'll still be blue base, but you can still see all the spots.
We've got one that fires so dark sometimes that you can't see anything at all. She looks almost like just a solid, slate gray color.
Yeah. Granites are interesting too because they can fire extremes both ways. They can go almost jet black or they can go very light baby blue. They've got their normal resting state where they're kind of a grayish color. But yeah, they can fire super dark or they can go super light. Granites are pretty interesting because they're so different from all of the other tokay morphs for sure.
Extremely variable, which is going to make figuring it out more complicated, but also more interesting.
Think there's any chance that they may be different genes? Do you think that the granites may
definitely?
I will definitely look forward to that one. So, just back to some Pseudodactylus. So, I think we're gonna be hopping back and forth. I already know it. Because I love tokeis and I love Cernodactylus. So I know Ant, he loves them tokeis. He loves that the whole family orientated part of it. Like I said, because you don't see a lot of geckos or reptiles in general with that kind of behavior. So when you see behaviors like that, it starts
That's one
messing
of
with
our
your mind.
favorite
Like,
things
okay, what's
about it.
going on?
Yeah, definitely one of our
Yeah,
favorite things about them.
I
The
just
way
think
the
they're
parents will
so
protect the
intelligent.
babies and care for them, it's amazing.
Yeah. Because we were
So you
talking
guys,
with Chris last week, and because he was saying like Standing Eye, I didn't even know Standing Eye does that.
Yeah,
So like where you can keep the babies in with them, and they'll help them, they'll train them to hunt and all that. Did not know that. It makes me want to get Standing Eye now. Like that is on my list to get now.
right? It makes them just that much more interesting, for sure.
Yeah, because I mean visually they never appealed to me. Like it was just all right. Especially when they get older, the color starts kind of just dulling out. I was like, all right, I don't really care. But once he said, yeah, they're family oriented. They keep the babies in. I'm like, sold. I'm sold. So you might see those next year.
Awesome.
I know you
All
guys
right.
had mentioned you left the granites in the cage. Do you do that with all your tokay babies? Do you let the eggs incubate in the cage, or is that
Yeah,
just something you did for
we,
that?
we don't remove the babies from the parents until they're around like 5 months old.
Yeah. And the reason is the babies absolutely thrive better when they're with their parents. The
Heard
females
this.
very
Yeah.
purposely pick out where they lay their eggs so that they're at an optimal condition. And the way they guard and take care of the babies, I mean, we don't have to worry about a parent hurting them. And they grow significantly faster. The people we talked to that do pull eggs and artificially incubate for one reason or another, they said they saw much, much lower growth rate in the offspring. So we leave them in there, let them thrive, let them do their thing. And then when they're old enough, then we go ahead and pull them.
Have you
Okay.
ever experienced a female eating an egg?
Only infertile.
That's what infernals is. I was talking to Dakota. I was supposed to talk to Dakota about New Caledonian geckos, and we wound up talking about tokay geckos for 3 hours. But he was saying that some of his females, like if the female doesn't believe an egg will make it or it's infertile, she'll eat the egg. She'll eat it. They're really, or they, they'll even lay the infertiles in different spots, and they lay. It's just the intelligence for them to be so aware of these things. It's. I don't know how they're not more popular than they are. Like I came up in the 80s and we only had so many animals, like tokays were one of them, believe it or not. But from the animals that became popular from the 80s until now, I'm like mind blown that tokays weren't one of them. And I think the only reason that is because of people are so scared to, or just not willing to put in the time to hold them and make them handle a bull, if you will, for argument's sake, because these animals, I mean, I'm a big monitor fan. I grew up with big snakes and big lizards. I got married, can't have them. Closest thing you're going to get with a tokay or to a monitor and a gecko is a tokay. I have leeches, I have chihuahuas, I have all of these animals that are smart. There's some extremely smart New Caledonia species, but tokays are a different level. Like they're just a different level. Smarter than my leeches all day. It's
I think tokays
just
are going to
keep
see a
playing
lot more
people.
popularity as more of the morphs are more readily available.
Yeah.
And now that a lot more people are working towards combos, I think that's going to help a lot too. I think once people do start seeing combo morphs out there, I think tokays will blow up in a few years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
I hope so
I
too.
hope
Question
so.
in the chat again. I said, how do you differentiate blue granite from blue paradox? He says he has a regular tokay that started developing the black spots, but when it fires down up, it loses the black spots and it just stays blue.
I mean, a blue paradox would be a completely different thing from granite.
It's difficult to say without seeing pictures of the specific animal, what exactly would be going on.
So when paradoxes
Yeah.
fire, they've got like white blotches that come through all over the
What I was going to say,
body.
you look like a pie.
Whereas the granites don't have anything like that.
And go ahead and ask a question. I'm gonna let this dog out real quick.
Oh, let me roll. So what do you guys, I know you say your stripe pattern is, your project is something that you're excited about this year? What else are you super excited about? Like maybe cracking the code on with these tokays?
So a lot of what we have going on, it's definitely not going to be a fast process on cracking the code. Definitely not. Most excited about? That's tough. That's tough because depending on the day of the week, we'll talk about a different one. I am really excited about what we're going to do with albinos personally. I think those are going to be really, really fun.
Patternless?
So albino patterns
Patterns?
is something we are going to do eventually, but that's actually not our first project with the albinos.
First
Really?
thing we're going to be doing is the albino candy dots. So we've got 2 different albinos in our collection right now. And the first one that we had acquired was he's more red than the other one is like a yellow. The red one we're going to be using for the candy dot combo. Those are going to be pretty cool. I think the candy dot combos are probably the most exciting thing to me. Candy dots, I feel, have more combo potential than any of the other Tokay morphs do. There's a lot of cool stuff that's gonna be done with candy dots.
For sure. Awesome. What is there anybody, like, I know some of these things it takes time, and you did hatch the granites, hopefully. What lines are available for people to buy? Like what genetics can like be produced like at will? Does that make any sense? Like how
The
what?
greens,
Yeah,
greens are readily available. Those are patternless is another one. Patternless is recessive, and there's a lot of patternless out there, so they're pretty easy to come by.
Yeah, they're
That's about it as far as like,
really, really available.
that's what I was looking at.
yeah.
Yeah, there is.
You see a lot of morphs, but you don't see a lot of people like selling them. Like there's no lines, if you will. Like there's not like people have certain animals. And I asked that to kind of segue into this. I was talking to Dakota and he had brought up, and then I was talking to Paul Morlock about some other stuff with some gargoyles. And the topic of genes came up into play. There's this idea that every animal has the same set of genes. Every animal has the same set of genes. Now, if those genes line up a certain way, every animal could potentially be any morph. Does that make any sense? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like every animal has the same potential. Every animal has the same DNA.
Correct.
If an animal DNA, the helixes line up a certain way, any animal, despite the parents or the lines, any animal could potentially come out a particular morph or a trait or a something. It's hard for me to explain because I don't have half of the knowledge that Paul does, but the way he was saying with like gargoyles was pretty much that it's a lottery. It's like playing dice. Every hand is the same numbers, but if both parents are shooting the same genes one day, you could potentially pop up
with something
a
new.
random morph out of regular animal.
I mean,
Nah,
that does happen.
I'm never going to be able to
Yeah.
explain.
So I get what you're saying. So that absolutely can happen. Well, you think of where a really common one. So lily white crested geckos. So the first lily white didn't come from, it came from two animals that were not that. They didn't show that. So it came from somewhere. And with that being an incomplete dominant, clearly didn't come down to recessive genes or whatever else, but something aligned and that came out. So yeah, I definitely think that's a possibility. And that's where we get some of this weird stuff that seemed to come from nowhere. Somehow the genes just clicked just right that one time and then it's there.
See, and that's what we were talking with Dakota, where it came up. I was talking to Dakota, and it came up about tokays, where he was speaking to someone and had the same idea that it could potentially be a lot of these morphs and genes are coming from just regular animals that the DNA just lined up the right way, and boom, out popped the animal. And for argument's sake, just about any animal could do that if the numbers are right. It's just an idea, but to me, I can see it in my head a lot better than I can explain it, obviously. And it makes a lot of sense, It's like playing
Something to think
slots,
about.
right?
I mean, the first one always has to
Yeah.
come from somewhere,
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
does. It does.
Gotta
that.
unlock it somehow. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They asked, is BHG is patternless, right?
Yeah.
That's the blue-headed great pattern.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring. Yeah. Someone asked that. So I was like, all right, let me ask. Cool. So for the Pachellas, what's your setup look like for them?
So we have two pairs. One of our pairs has not been put together just yet. The female just started laying dead eggs, so they will be paired up fairly soon.
Nice.
Our adult pair, well, I guess they're both adult pairs now, but the ones we've had paired up together for a while now, they're in a 24 by 18 by 24.
It's 30.
Oh, sorry, 36.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, 36 tall. Lots of cork.
Okay.
It's got drainage layer, substrate.
That's
So you're just going full bio on them?
Eco earths and like a recta chip mix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much it's just packed really heavy. A lot of cork tubes. They spend the majority of their time up off the ground climbing around in there. So,
Yeah, they really do.
Oh, nice.
They really don't spend much time on the ground at all. Given the opportunity to be up off the ground, that's where they are.
I've never once seen them on the ground.
How big are they?
So, gosh, I've never actually measured them.
I would say nose to tail, probably about 8 inches.
Okay. That's a nice sized gecko. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super nice sized. So,
It's a nice size enclosure for two of them.
yeah, it's probably a little overkill, but we had it available and we're like, they'll do well in there, so we went with it.
I don't
Oh,
believe
I mean,
it
shit, I
overkill.
got
think
my
that's great.
Zabricas in the 30-gallon.
Yeah, and
So, I mean-
and Zabricas are so active. That's awesome to have. The Pulcellas were a
Yeah.
little more
Like they
laid
got
back.
plenty of climbing. Oh yeah. Yeah, because I saw you holding it, and I was like, "Oh, is this a holdable gecko? Doesn't mind it?" Because I know, like, I mean, my Nemelosis will tolerate it for like a hot second, and then they'll just scurry off. Like, all right, I'm over this shit. Like, I'm out of here. Like my Triatus, no, don't even try. I try to pick them up, and they just squeal like a pig and run off. They are fast as hell. Like they're like day gecko fast, but on the ground. So it was like, yeah, I'm over. Yeah.
They
And
do
then,
okay
like,
looking at
I mean,
like when they
yeah.
will try to run away if you just reach in there to pick them up. They'll run away. But if you do pick them up and get them out of there, they're not too bad.
The female actually is pretty tolerant of it. I've had her out multiple times and to just check her over and stuff, and she's just like, yeah, all right, I guess we're doing this. And then she's happy when I put her back.
The younger male that we have will bite and latch down like a tokay.
Yes, he thinks he's big and tough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he does. Of course, their bite, obviously, it's not anything serious, but
Yeah.
he'll let you know he's unhappy.
All right. So question in the chat about so for the BHG, is that simple recessive or codom?
Recessive.
Recessive.
Yeah.
Okay.
The patternless is recessive.
Okay. Gotcha. So do they, for these Pachellas, do they like to take bigger prey items, or you feed them a little bit smaller?
I would say they would prefer larger over smaller. A lot of the pterodactyls seem to. Ours,
Yeah.
because crickets are our easiest source because we have so many animals, they get large crickets. They would happily take
Okay.
dubia roaches that are a little larger than what our crickets are. And I have fed those in the past. They tend to prefer stuff that moves around a lot. I had tried with my previous ones, and some of them will take some different kinds of worms. Some of them are like, but it depends on the individual animal.
Yeah,
Things like,
Yeah, I think I put worms in the bowls and put them in some of these enclosures. Didn't touch them at all.
yeah, they
It's
mostly
like
ignore.
they're like, no, we need movement to entice us to go ahead and actually try to eat it. I was like, all right, well, give this somebody else in because you guys don't want it. Even wax worms, they're like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
It's like,
the only
damn.
way I successfully got
wax
them
worms?
to take me any worms was my old, when I had them originally, sometimes I'd have hornworms, and if I tongue fed them hornworms, they would take them. But if I just put them in something, they'd just get ignored.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't even tried hornworms with them yet. I mean, even a lot of my stuff doesn't even want hornworms. Like every now and then, like my Chihuahuas will, like after she lays her eggs, I'll give her hornworms, waxworms, silkworms. then she'll take them. But after that one round, she's like, I'm over it. Just give me some cricket, and that's it. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, fine. It's cheaper on me.
Right.
Yeah, no, because I mean those silkworms are expensive. So are those hornworms. They get real expensive.
Yeah, well, and they grow so fast that it's kind of a pain to if you have them around for any length of time. They grow so big so fast that it's like, okay, well, we have a couple tokeis that'll take them, if that's where they go. So we tend not to buy them very often either.
And man, that's the one thing I did miss about my tokei. She was a garbage disposal. Didn't matter what it was. Like I was like, oh, Corn Snake didn't want this little pinky. Come here, tokei. Bop, bop, bop. And like, man, like even so, sometimes I feel bad about for the rodent because it probably got like 36 concussions while he was beating it on the wall. It's like, God damn. But it is what it is. It's part of nature.
Wait,
what does your guys' feeding regimen look like for the tokeis?
We feed 3 times a week. So we feed on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So for the younger tokeis, they would be getting about like 8 to 10 crickets per feeding. The breeder cages, the amount that we put in there is going to depend on like how many babies are in there at the moment. Because we need to put enough in there that all of the babies are going to get adequate food as well. I would say
we just throw a lot in there. We're like, have fun, guys.
Yeah, the breeder the animals that are still like individual, younger ones are getting like 8 to 10 crickets per feeding. The older adults are getting like 10 to 12 per feeding.
Are you feeding anything else? Just crickets? Do you have a rotation of anything that you run, or is it just?
I mean, mostly crickets.
Just cricket.
We do other stuff occasionally as treats, like hornworms or superworms or something. But crickets are the main diet.
I can't get her to eat anything but crickets.
For anything else, we have to do it with tongs.
If it's on the floor, they won't touch it. If it's in any kind of feeding cup, they won't touch it. We'll just go through and tong feed some of them, some other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if I put because I had a little bowl in there, and I already know where she likes to chill at, so I just put the bowl right there, and I usually just, like, she'll eat dubias for me. Like, she was the one that would readily accept dubias. Like, if I had a colony of them, that's who they were going to because nobody else wanted them. Like, I didn't like giving them to some of my smaller geckos just because even the little babies are so wide that I was like, I don't like it going down your like throat and just get stuck. I just have nightmares about that stuff. But my tokei, I had her, I'll put like a bunch of different, I'll put roaches in there, I'll put super worms, like a silkworm, and just throw like little vitamin mix on there, boom, put it in there, and you just hear just wow. And I heard that. What was that? Who was that?
That's Matt Jr. again.
All right. That's so cool. I love that.
It's so fun.
So what are you guys doing? Any type of special supplementation for your breeders? Do you do any like calcium post or pre?
Yeah, we dust the crickets with calcium every feeding.
Yeah.
And you do every feeding?
Well.
Yeah, all of our tokeis also get feed.
Yeah, nice. So they get dusted. We alternate vitamin powder in there occasionally to make sure that everything's being covered. And of course, crickets are very heavily gut loaded with all kinds of greens and stuff. So they're hopefully getting a pretty good diet from that as well.
You guys had mentioned to keep, importing some species, and I'd imagine the place you're getting them from is, great with taking care of animals. But have you ever got any animals imported to you guys that weren't in the best of shape? And what do you do to combat some of those issues?
So we have,
if there wasn't,
and generally we have pretty high standards, and sellers that don't have as high of standards as we do, we don't do business with them.
Makes sense.
People that we get our animals from now, like everything is in good shape when we receive it. Like we have received stuff in the past that's basically like a skeleton with skin, and I won't mess with people that are okay with selling animals like that. I feel like if you're going to do this, you need to take care of the animals.
Yeah, so like you're saying, blood zoos, when they get tokeis in, when they do their imports, their animals are going to be hydrated, they're eating, they treat them for parasites. So we know before we ever get them that these animals are going to be fine. They might still be a little thin, but they're not going to be on death's door skinny. I mean, they're imports.
Are you
You need
quarantining?
to put some groceries in them, but they're going to be fine.
Are you quarantining those animals, or are you comfortable with
So-
where they came from?
So
and-
we pretty much quarantine everything just as like a standard practice. Our collection is too big to not do that.
Yeah, the risk is just not worth it.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I got one time. Jason will tell you. I had all these other animals, but I always had, like I said, as a kid, Tokay was one of the first geckos I ever had, and I always loved Tokay geckos. So when I started getting all these new cow geckos, I'm spending thousands of dollars on individual chihuahuas and lychees and stuff. And one day I was just like, I want a Tokay. I don't care how much it costs. Just let me get a regular old, plain old Tokay. Well, I made a mistake and had a buddy of mine that owned a pet shop order me one. This thing, I
That was
still
knocking
can't
on death's
believe.
door.
I really, I can't believe that this happens in today's world, because this animal came to me and looked like a skeleton with skin, like a mummy. It looked mummified, this thing, and it was a
have
lot.
in the past had a couple animals shipped to us like that, but
Cool.
Yeah, it's not okay. In my
No,
opinion, even if
no,
you're an
no.
importer, at least do the bare minimum for your animals before you sell them. At least get them hydrated, eating, make sure they're okay before you just send them out.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And frankly, as a buyer, I would so much rather pay more for somebody who is taking the time to take those steps, even if that means they have it longer. I would happily pay more for that than
Absolutely.
animal
I paid
that-
$20 for the first one. I paid $300 for the second one. And I would have rather spent the $300 the first time on the one I have now than the $20, whatever I spent on that first one. And just the fear, because I brought her into my room. I had her in my gecko room, and I guess I wasn't really thinking straight because I didn't touch anything or do anything, but I brought her in here to set everything up. And I planned on quarantining her in my laundry room with some of the other stuff I had out there, but I brought her in here when I realized how bad she was and the things that I went through it's so not worth it. Like the anxiety, the stress for days. I'm worried about what did I touch? What did this? I'm bleaching my carpet. I'm doing all types of ridiculous things because I worked myself up into a tizzy over this animal that I should have never have bought. And I thought I thought I could escape, like,
Yeah. I've worked with a lot of animals that are really commonly imported, flying geckos being one of them. You go to a show and you see the sad little $20, $15 flying gecko on an importer's table is so severely dehydrated that there's no coming back. It's never going to recover. It's going to die. And that was part of why I got into flying geckos, is like, okay, this sucks. People should be able to buy a healthy animal. And so I started working
you're
with
still working with them now?
I am unfortunately
still working with
not.
them
I
now?
actually want to get some again.
Wow.
So I was
Yeah,
actually
you're awesome
I-
geckos.
multiple flying gecko species. I was actually U.S. first on one of them, which was really, really cool on reproducing.
Really?
But yeah, I've had multiple species
Congratulations.
of them. They're awesome.
Very cool. I didn't know there was more than one species, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I was at the Petco in my town over in Connecticut. I don't know. I was down there looking for something the other day, something like cricket food or something, and they had flying geckos in there, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like, I think if I think about it, yeah. And any other day I would have bought them, to be honest with you, but I didn't, and I looked at them and thought how cool it was. I was like, "Damn, when am I ever going to see those in a pet shop again?" But
yeah.
God only knows where they came from or what went on with them. And it looked decent, to be honest with you. They didn't, So I'm wondering maybe if they are anybody. I mean, they're probably do big box stores like that get imports. Would they
Oh,
have an
definitely,
imported flying gecko?
definitely.
Yeah.
really?
I've seen them in big box stores.
No, I'm saying I did too last week. I just didn't know if they'd be wild or
Oh,
if
they're,
they
pro-
would
they're
be
definitely
captive.
wild caught. Yeah.
Really,
Yeah. Just like all the anoles you see in there and
those
all
are
the
wild
other
caught
bull.
too. See, I didn't
Yeah.
think that they could. I guess I'm just that
Yeah.
ignorant. I didn't think that
They
big
do.
stores like that would fund
Yep, they absolutely do.
import it. Huh?
I've
Oh,
even seen leaf
Got a
tails.
question in the chat. Yeah, definitely. So do you guys work with the Diablo more? Not yet. See, I like
no.
that.
Yeah,
They both
we were
like not yet. So that means they're already thinking, yes, we are
Yeah.
we are going to get it. So
We do have
They're
plans
expensive
for
animals.
Yep.
So
there's
they're
only a
expensive.
couple mutations we don't have yet, and Diablo is one of them.
and we're looking forward to adding them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
There you go.
said wasn't it M9 that came up with the Diablo line?
Yeah, M95
produces it,
is
yeah.
one of the people that is producing captive brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did that
Dakota
one, and I
has.
think
I know
he
Dakota's
did
got
like
one.
platinum.
Stone
Yeah.
first part of that.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. All right. All right. So for these Cerdaclus, how are you said you already got one breeding pair, right? And you're waiting for another one?
Mhm.
All right. So have you actually seen their courtship or anything like that?
Oh no, we don't
Or are
see
they
it. there.
real secretive?
Yeah, they're pretty secretive about that. They very much, nope, never got to see it. I did see it once previously when I had them before, and I had
Mhm.
actually been told that they could be a little aggressive in breeding. And I've even had people tell me that
Oh,
they
really?
couldn't house their Pochellas together because they were aggressive with each other. I've never witnessed any aggression in my pair before or
They
now.
breed 'em
I've
if you
never
keep
seen them
them
work
good.
on either one, never seen any evidence of any aggression. So I've never hesitated to go ahead and keep pairs together. Now, I would not do trios with those. I've heard the females can be pretty aggressive together. I never tried it because after hearing
Okay.
that, I was like, you know what? I really want to find out because I could find out the hard way and that would not be fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because like I said, we were talking to Chris last week about Zabricus, and he he forgot an egg, forgot a few eggs in an enclosure, and the babies hatched out. And then the parents were like, they weren't being aggressive towards them. They were actually like, all right, cool, kind of helping them out. So maybe it's that female on female type of thing. These are my kids. Leave us alone. Get out of here type of thing.
Yeah, very
So-
well could be.
Yeah, and we're also thinking about like more. Maybe it's more of those geckos from that region, that area, like that Southeast Asia, where because I mean Tokays, they're family oriented. Even the skunk geckos are somewhat.
Oh, they definitely are.
And then and he was talking about these Cerdaclus bracus being kind of like that as well. It's starting to make me think more and more that all these geckos from this or not little area, but this general area, they're more like family oriented. I don't even know why, but I mean,
They
it's
live in a dangerous jungle. They've evolved to realize that there's safety in numbers. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, there's got to be some reason, right? I'm a huge advocate, for nature. Nature doesn't do anything by accident. Like there's absolutely a reason why Tokay geckos stick together. I don't know what it is,
Definitely.
but
And I even saw similar
Sure.
behavior
And
with so again, I worked with a few different species of flying geckos. So most species of flying geckos will not take care of the offspring. One in particular, I had to be really on it to get babies out immediately or they were gone. But I found that horse
Really?
bildi actually was very
Oh, really?
tolerant of the offspring. And I would still
Whoa.
pull them, but it was often a couple of weeks before, I would do it because they were doing fine. I didn't necessarily see any difference. So I did leave a couple in there early on just to see if I saw a difference in growth rate or anything. I really didn't see a difference. So I did pull the babies partly because they're the fastest geckos I've ever worked with. They're so fast. I have worked with day geckos and all kinds of different species. Horse bildi, even compared to the other species of flying geckos, there's no comparison. I'm pretty sure they could actually teleport. But the idea of opening the cage and there being like multiple babies and the adults in there, and the idea of them all just come flying out nope. So
Yeah,
pull the
net,
babies.
bug net.
We're like individual enclosures. We're not playing with that. So
yeah.
Random
what is,
question, but do all those
oh.
flying geckos, do they bury their eggs or are they gluers? Do they
They're gluers.
glue them to trees? They are. Okay.
So for Tokays and for the Cerdaclus, what is like how long does it take for these eggs to hatch?
So, Cerdactylus eggs, the Pulcellus, and
A long time.
a very long time.
I heard they were a
I knew it was gonna be a
very
long time.
So when I produced them before, I had eggs that went up to 5 months.
Damn.
It was a very And it was to the point where I was thinking, these eggs can't even be good. Like this, they can't even be good. It's not. And then suddenly they would hatch. And the really cool thing about Pterodactylus babies, they pop out pretty big. They're not tiny babies. They are pretty hefty and big. And I mean, just really solid right out of the egg, which I loved. The pattern on them is so beautiful with their babies too. Like they're really cool. Voracious eaters right out of the egg. They just obliterated anything I gave them straight from the start. So that was very cool.
With the totes,
Random question, but
anywhere from 90 to 150 days, depending on where
That's not bad at all.
in the cage they lay them and the temperature where that egg site is.
Yeah.
the Pterodactylus, are they hard-shelled eggs, or are they like a leathery type of egg?
They're hard shelled.
They are hard-shelled.
So, so for your incubation, are you letting them hatch inside the cage, or are you taking them out and put them in like a deli cup, and are you using like a different kind of medium or anything like that?
So I do pull the eggs for those guys. So with a lot of hard-shelled eggs, if they get too wet, they swell and crack and break. So to make sure that doesn't happen, because we do miss the enclosure pretty often, obviously, we do it daily. So I do pull those. I put them in a large jelly cup with hatch media in it, and then the egg itself sits in a cup of dry media inside the same incubation. So the bottom media will be wet,
Okay.
and then the actual media sits on the dry.
Seems like a lot of those, like Europlatus, the Pterodactylus,
Yep, very
like
similar.
Haemophilus. Yeah. Okay. So I'm starting to learn all this stuff now. So when it's time for once they get their eggs going, I can go ahead and just have it all ready.
Yeah.
What about your incubation temperatures for the Pterodactylus?
So I do them at room temperature. Our room stays
Okay.
about mid to high 70s. So since they are a cool temp species, I will actually put their eggs down lower. Because I mean, in their natural habitat, their temps are not high. So yeah, I could put them down lower, but room temperature.
Where do they come from? Like in the wild? Like
So this
what
is where
country?
we start getting into some interesting information about Pulchellus in particular. So they are primarily peninsular Malaysia. However, so there has been a lot of geckos that have been identified as Pulchellus that are, for a long time, it was thought it was different locales, but it's not. There's actually a lot of different species that are very, very similar, that are all in kind of the same range. So it's actually very possible. I think there's a high probability that the first Pulchellus I had actually were not. It's because the ones I have now look to be more true to what the true Pulchellus is supposed to be. So the ones I had before had much different, like their banding was a little different. They were bigger and little different temperament on them. So these guys I have are a little smaller than the ones were previously. Their banding is a little softer. And I mean, again, very, very similar, but there's actually quite a range. And for a long time, they were all just lumped into Pulchellus, but now that a lot of them have been separated out into individual species. So because they all come from a pretty similar range, if you're getting wild caught ones, it can be pretty challenging to figure out exactly which ones you have. So that's a whole nother kettle of fish. And there's a lot of things, again, because they're so similar, it can be really difficult to differentiate between them.
You're not the first one to say this. We've heard this from other people too. I think, was it Chris that was telling us this, Jay?
Yeah. Because he was talking about where like Zebricus comes from that penguensis, right? Like it was supposed to be like a subspecies, and then it ended up just being its own species after a while. So I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, honestly, like I know, and you always ask this question, like, do you think they like a lot of these geckos kind of cross paths? So maybe some hybridization in there as well.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Look, there's so many damn Pterodactylus. There's so many. I mean, there's hundreds
so
of them.
many. Yeah, there's so many.
it's 300. Like last time I counted, it was like 334.
Yeah,
I
it's a
just
lot.
think that something's happening, and every time a new gecko is discovered, it always seems like it's one of them. Like it's always, a Pterodactylus is discovered, or a new Pterodactylus is described, or it's always like something with them. So I'm always like, were people like just not paying that much attention, or like these things just
The difference is
hybridizing and making new species
It's very subtle differences.
Yeah. It's kind of funny to me. When I first started working with geckos, I remember right now there's like over 1,600 known species of geckos. Now it's like, oh yeah, there's like over 2,000 known species of geckos. So yeah, more and more discovered, or, species are being split up into, or in the case of flying geckos, they decided to actually move the flying gecko genus into gecko. So now it's technically
really?
gecko. Yeah, they took away Tychozoan, which I was not pleased about because I don't see the similarity, but yeah, well, unfortunately, their reasoning was that they were too similar to other geckos that they had already under the gecko genus. But basically, gecko needs to be split up, but it would have been harder to do that than to just also move Tychozoan in with them. So come on, guys, don't be lazy. Split it up.
Unfortunately, no. There's really not a lot of information out there on either.
No, even less on Cerdodactylus than on Tokays. Tokays, you can find some different care sheets and stuff. Whether or not it's good information or bad information is very hit and miss. Cerdodactylus, if you look up their care information online, you get some really random stuff. So yeah, I wish I had good ways to point people, but not a lot out there.
I started pointing people to Jim McDermott. Like I said, he's like the Cerdodactylus Shaolin monk. Like that dude knows. Like you could ask him one question and he will pop off with like 10 different answers on other stuff. He'll start going into they were part of this complex right here and this and that. I'm like, damn, dude. I just asked you, hey man, did I do this right?
Where's he getting the information from though?
So,
like he's got to be reading it from somewhere.
So a lot of his information he's actually gotten from people overseas, people that have worked more extensively with these animals. So some of these species have just been worked with a lot more in Europe than they have here, and he has a lot of contacts for that. Jim is absolutely extremely knowledgeable. And yes, I highly encourage anybody to, if, they want to contact somebody, if they're really looking for one really crazy species of Cerdodactylus, he's got some incredible animals. I think I'm on like 3 of his waiting lists, but he's also a really good guy and he's happy to share his information and he's very knowledgeable.
Yeah. I've been trying to get him on this podcast forever. Keeps turning me down.
It might be a challenge, but yeah, he'd be amazing. That I can tell you, I would definitely watch it. He's a good guy to talk to.
Yeah, definitely. So, so you've hatched these Procellus already before, right?
Well,
so what?
If they were true Procellus, but either way.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
But so how were you housing the babies?
So the babies I started, because they were so big, I started them in 10-gallon tanks. They were so big, so active, and such voracious eaters, and so busy that, yeah, I started them in 10-gallon tanks. And I set them up very similarly to the adults, just in miniature. Yeah, they had UVB lights on.
So you're still giving them like UV?
Yeah, all that stuff. Right. UV crickets. They hatch out eating.
Did you give them any? Did you give them any heat at all?
So in my previous place, I gave them more heat than I do currently. So I had a cooler room at the time, but this room stays pretty warm. So aside from the UVB lighting, we don't really have extra light, anything extra on them because they don't need it.
Gotcha.
So our room in the summertime gets up to 80 degrees, again, because we have choking and stuff in here. So yeah, so they really don't need supplemental heat.
Yeah. What was what brand of UV are you using?
So right now, I think we have the Zoom Med. I've used both Arcadia and Zoom Med, and I think this last run I got
Zoom Med.
Well, so they both put out some heat too, so that's why I was asking. Because I know there's some UV bulbs that don't put out any heat, but I know Arcadia and Zoom Med do. Like I got both of them. And I can always like during the wintertime when I'm cooling everything down. Once the UV light kicks on, I see my chihuahuas because I have it inside their enclosure. I see them just gripping onto that fixture, like I'll give this warmth real quick. Because, like I said, everybody gets a cooling over here, like no matter who it is. Like you guys are going down, you chilling. I'm not trying to hear anything. Let's go, and then bring it back up once it gets warmer. Even though, like this year, like my breeding season started early because the weather over here just went like psycho. Like it's been like in the 80s all month long, or all February. Yeah, it's like I was like, what the fuck
That's
just
nothing to
happened?
complain about, Jay. You
I was
don't
gonna
complain
say I'm a
about
little
that.
jealous.
No.
Yeah. I'm living.
Well,
It's
when you're trying to breathe
14
stuff,
outside right now.
when you're trying to put things in cooling, it messes up
It does.
plans.
Yeah, it
And
really
then-
does.
And then all of a sudden, like tomorrow, it's gonna be 61. I'm like, what the hell is this bipolar weather? Like, I know, and you were talking about like, man, it was like 50 today, and tomorrow's gonna be like 20. I was like,
55
damn.
yesterday. It's been in the teens today.
Yeah, it was I
Yeah,
think
man.
40 here today. So
Where are you guys?
Virginia, yeah, just outside of D.
It's not cold down in Virginia, really? I didn't know Virginia got that cold. I thought Virginia was kind of like.
Oh no,
Don't it
no,
snows over there, right?
Yes,
does. Yeah,
we
you're
got
right. All right,
quite a
all
bit of
right.
snow this
Virginia
year.
does. I was
Yeah,
like-
it's
Yeah,
was
so
thinking
you
like
guys are
near-
East Coast.
Past the Carolinas. Yeah, but at some point on the East Coast over here, it stops getting cold, Jay. Like I've driven to Florida a bunch of times. You can feel the climate changing as you're driving. Like you can feel like at a certain point, it's just warmer, dude. I'm in Connecticut, like past New York over here. It's like the frozen tundra.
oh yeah,
Yes.
it gets really cold up there.
Too old for this.
I hear that.
Oh man. All right. So we're coming up close to this end. So before that, is there anything that you can, for both these species, for tokays and these pachellas, is there any good tips that you would want to give to new
Preferably tokays.
So with tokay, they're honestly pretty easy if you meet the requirement. Like the ambient temperature mid-70s with a basking spot like 90 to 95, UV lighting. If we mist every evening, if you're doing that, they're super easy, very hardy. With handling them, it just takes the confidence of not being afraid, don't be afraid of them.
Yeah, that would be my biggest tip is don't let them scare you. If you take the time and have the patience, they can be just as easier to handle even than a crested gecko. And it's just all about taking the time to earn their trust and work with them. And that's definitely my biggest tip is try not to be afraid. Don't get discouraged quickly because it does take some time to win them over. So don't get discouraged. Be patient, be persistent, and you will absolutely get there with them. And you will have a pet that you will love more than you can imagine. They're incredible animals. For this Pterodactylus, I
Love all.
would say, first, I would encourage, because there's so few people that are breeding like the Pulcellus, get into it for the right reasons. Pick the animal because of something you truly feel passionate about and that you want to help advance. That would be the thing I would like to see most in new keepers with them. Again, so they're pretty easy care. They're not aggressive, typically, except for the one we have. Don't mind him. But they're very, very easy to handle.
Always that one.
So just that one gecko. He's fine.
Nice.
It'll be fine. Take the time to talk to people who do have them and always make sure you do have a network of people because the information is not there. Make sure you're communicating well with who you're getting them from so that you can set them up properly and be successful.
Do you think they make as good of a pet as a popular gecko, leopard gecko, or crested gecko? Do you think that someone that was going out to look for a leopard gecko or
There's
crested
no
gecko?
reason that they're not more popular. Like if they were more readily available,
Yeah.
more people would have them for sure. They're awesome pets to keep. Very easy care.
Yeah, there's nothing about them or their care that's intimidating. It's just, I think, so few people know they even exist. And so I think, if the word gets out there and the availability is there, I think people will absolutely buy them and really thoroughly enjoy them.
That's one of the reasons we do this podcast is to show people that these other animals out here are just as easy and sometimes, a lot of times, a lot cooler than the popular stuff. Like,
Absolutely.
yes, things are popular, but there's some others. You don't have to just get what your buddy has because your buddy has it. You can get some cool stuff of your own too, and it's not harder to keep than these other things. And that's one of the messages we like to get to people is that some of these other animals are just as simple, just as easy to keep, just as rewarding as a lot of the things that you see everybody with.
Yeah,
It's,
and I
it's good to
appreciate
hear
that
that.
message. I think that's awesome that you guys do that. I really like that you guys are bringing some of these less mainstream animals onto your channel so that people can actually get a feel for what's out there.
Got
That's
to.
very cool.
Yep.
No,
We're
like you
trying.
said,
We're
we want to
trying.
blend both.
Deserve it.
Yeah, we want to blend both the popular and the not so popular, or just the uncommon. So, I mean, that's why we, like you said, that's why we have this podcast, so we can, bring both of those to the lights.
Yeah,
So
I love
hopefully
it.
it's working. We'll see. Yeah. So, and you want to hit them with your closer, man?
All right, so I ask all of our guests the same question, so don't take any offense to it or anything. It's not that I have no better questions. I just love this question. And this works for you guys too, being that you vend and are at shows a lot. If a 10-year-old child, a little boy or a little girl came up to you at a show and said, wow, guys, I want to be you one day. This is what I want to do when I grow up. What advice would you give that child?
I would say, pursue what you're passionate about and just educate yourself as much as you can about it and all things related to it. Like study animal behavior, study genetics, study veterinary medicine, study everything even remotely related to what you're passionate about.
Do it because you love the animals, and don't chase the fads. Work with an animal because you genuinely love that species and love what you're doing with it. If you're constantly chasing the fads and chasing what's popular, you're never going to specialize in one thing, and you're never going to get the satisfaction out of it that you could.
Perfect. Great. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Couldn't say it any better myself. That's literally what I say. Forget the styles, forget the trends. Do what your heart tells you to do. Follow your heart. Do what you love to do.
Especially when you're chasing those people that you're looking up to. I mean, you're already 5 years behind already.
Oh,
So
definitely.
The styles are what?
Yeah,
I've
just
watched
do
this in
what
the
you
new
like.
world. I watched the trends go in a loop for the last 8 years. This is popular this month, then it's not heard of, and then 3 months down the line, it's popular again and it's gone. I mean, these people are out here trying to work with them. I watch them buy and sell projects left and right. It's like you were never passionate about it. Like I have certain new cow projects that I don't care what they're worth. They're not going anywhere. It's what I'm doing. It's what I want. I don't care who likes what or who wants what's irrelevant to me.
It's also like to burn yourself out. You're going to lose the interest. You're going to lose the drive if you're not genuinely enjoying what you're doing. So
Absolutely.
chase that. Chase what you love. If you love some really cool, obscure species that, hey, might not even be worth that much money, do it anyway. Do it because you love it. Have those little projects that you have just purely because you think the animal is cool. There's nothing
Awesome
wrong with that.
advice.
That's how you keep yourself satisfied. That's how you keep yourself interested and involved. Just don't chase the money. Chase the passion.
All that
Great
right there.
advice.
Yeah. So my question is, what has been your biggest failures since being in this hobby, and what have you learned from them?
I jumped into reptiles very quick and hard. And one of the biggest
As we all
wake-up
do.
calls, yeah, right. One of the biggest wake-up calls for me was I was living in an apartment. It was an old building, 2 bedrooms, the top floor. So it tended to stay kind of warm in my place, especially in the summertime. And when I first jumped in, I started getting species that I was really excited about. People would tell me, okay, maybe, they need this temperature range, that temperature range, whatever. I would think, I think I can make this work. I can. So I jump in, right? So what do I dive into? Leaf tails. Yeah. So the Sakori actually did okay there still. My first pair of Fantasticus did not. And it was a very hard lesson to learn that just no matter how much you love them, if you cannot provide exactly what they need, you have no business having it. So after that loss, which was devastating to me because they were a dream species of mine. After that, I did not get any more leaf tails until I moved. I had a basement, nice, cool space for them. And then I went very heavy into leaf tails and succeeded. I produced a lot of Fantasticus in my life. I owned many, many species of Uroplatus. But once I moved out of that place, I knew that I was going to be moving into a place where I was not going to be able to keep that environment anymore. So I did have to let those projects go. But my biggest failure, my biggest realization was that no matter how much I loved it or wanted it, there are things I can't have. And there's a good reason for it. So losing that pair was really, really challenging for me. It was really hard for me. But it was also a good lesson because I learned, you know what? You can have all these cool things that are appropriate for your environment. You need to leave the ones that you can't provide for them.
I would say trying to keep multiple different species with different requirements all in the same space leads to issues. So like, for example, with our setup based around tokays, but also having stuff like nucale stuff that needs cooler winter temperature. Trying to provide all of that in the same space is sometimes you just have to choose between like a bad season for the cresteds or a bad season for something else because you can't cycle everybody when they're all in the same room, you know. I would say the biggest setbacks have come from that, just having so many different species in the same space that do have different cycles, different requirements.
And we've definitely seen lighter seasons for crested for that reason. So eventually, hopefully, we'll have multiple rooms again. That is the goal. 5 or 6 ought to do it. So, they.
I love that.
Well, we're going to need our.
I mean, you guys are doing good with the tokays, though. You know, I mean, at some point, you figure out some of these tokay morphs. I mean, maybe your bread and butter. You know.
Yeah, and that is something that we do keep in mind. We are very much focusing heavy on tokays at this point, so we do cater more towards their needs and their breeding season and stuff, and where they're from. There's not a lot of temperature variation throughout the year, so we don't,
it stays pretty steady.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's very consistent. So
Yeah.
So as a result, again, makes it a little more challenging with other stuff, but we got to pick our battles. And the crested are all doing fine. They're certainly not having any health issues or anything like that. They're just not getting the cycle to have really productive seasons.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I kind of put myself in that same situation. Like I said, I got right now. I'm working on like 3 different racks. One is like gonna be my montane species. So on my Eurypletus, my Aussie leaftails, tropical, Chihuahuas, Cerdodactylus, and then I'm gonna have my arid, which is all my Stropharis. So I know those challenges right there all too well.
Yeah,
but like I said, yeah, like
next.
I don't think it'll be next year. Yeah,
I've worked with some of those too.
Like next, yeah. Oh, nice. Said not next season, but I think the season after that, I'll be working with some of those Aussie leaftails, and getting them cool enough is gonna be a challenge. Because like I said, I live in Arizona, so it doesn't stay cool that long. So I'm thinking about like just putting their ass outside at nighttime when it's like 40 degrees and let them cool, because they need that 40-degree temp cool down to reproduce. So
yeah, they sure do.
That's a challenge.
If they don't get cold enough, they just are not going to do it. So a trick some people have used is actually get like wine refrigerators and stuff like that.
I've seen people do that as well. Yeah. So
hold on, I'm
gonna go ahead and try a couple different things. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm gonna try a couple different things and see what happens, and then we'll go from there. So where can everybody find you guys at?
Instagram is the best place, at Big Mad Gecko. We have Facebook too, but pretty much everything is just posted to the Instagram and then just shared to the Facebook.
Yeah. And also the email is.
You guys got Morph Market?
Oh.
Okay. Do you guys have Morph Market?
Any shows you guys got coming up? You guys?
Yes. So we actually have Rexpo coming up at the end of the month. Mm-hmm. So we'll be up there for that. I love that show. It's a lot of fun. Aside from that.
How long of a drive is that?
About 6 hours.
Oh, you guys are determined. Okay.
Actually, that's not too bad. I've definitely done much further distance shows. Josh has too. But yeah. But that's a good show. It's worth going up for. So anybody in the Rochester area, like definitely go check out Rexpo. That is totally worth going to. A lot of fun.
Nice. All right. Well, it was definitely a pleasure to have you guys on. Definitely would like to have you guys back on. Like I said, you got like 30-some species back there, so we could talk about a whole lot of stuff.
Oh, for sure we could. This time actually went by so quick that I feel like we didn't even start to touch on so many things that we could talk about.
Yeah, we would love to do
No,
that.
no,
For sure.
yeah, it was a
Said,
lot of
I
back and
already
forth,
got so many more.
Cerdaclus, Tokay, Cerdaclus. So, but I mean, it made for a good conversation. So I'm happy about that.
Really enjoying
Like I
myself.
said,
It was
yeah.
great talking with you guys.
Appreciate you guys coming
love
on,
that.
and I
Thank
love what
you.
you're doing with the Tokays. I mean, I love what you're
Thank
doing with
you.
all the other stuff too. And I really think you guys got something really special going on with those Tokays, and
Oh yeah,
I'm excited to
I
watch
mean,
you guys. You know,
Tokays need a lot more representation in this hobby than what it is right now. Like
Agreed.
there's plenty of morphs, there's plenty of different color palettes for someone to fall in love with, and it's just like I said, there's that not even a myth, but just that people feel like a little scared to get a Tokay because like it's gonna bite me. It's like that's fine. Just let it nip it. Like most of the time they're just quick little, not even biting, not even lashing on, just little bluffers. So and then, like all you gotta do is work with it. It's just like a monitor. You gotta work with it to earn that trust. So hopefully they become more popular. That's one of my hopes is.
For sure, same.
Yeah.
we got
So,
keep up the good work, guys.
Thank
You're
you.
doing
Yes.
some
And
awesome
thank you for
stuff,
having
Bob.
us. We appreciate
For
it.
sure, we appreciate it.
No problem.
honor. Thank you.
All right. Well, everybody have a great night, morning, afternoon, whenever you listen to this. Please like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. We like to say, we want to get this out to the world. We want everybody to listen to this. We want everybody to get all this good information that all our guests are giving to us. So just make sure you guys, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody. Don't care. Just tell them. It's like, hey, we
Stay
listen to this.
weird, people.
Right? Yeah, there you
Peace.
go. All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Yo, creeping in the dark, life nocturnal, dark and dark, both paths arboreal to terrestrial. Sticky toes gripping forest students that explore. Listen close, Gecko podcast, that's knowledge galore. Reptile talk, host Anthony and Jason. Trade secrets flow, no time wasted. From tropics to town, it's sight raining. With every chat, reptile game changing. Escaping heat waves, tan under rays, desert sand echoes, sun blazing days. Little hustlers, camouflage a maze, catch them speaking wisdom, the wild on replay. Reptile talk, host Anthony and Jason. Trade secrets flow, no time wasted. From tropics to town, it's sight raining. With every chat, reptile game changing. Sculling through the leaves, shadows unseen. Master of the skies, chameleon dream. Listen, tails flip, script getting clean. Gecko exchange, true reptile fiends. Reptile talk, host Anthony and Jason. Trade secrets flow, no time wasted. From tropics to town, it's sight raining. With every chat, reptile game changing. Scuttling through the leaves, shadows unseen. Master of disguise.